Here we are. You know, when you see us, you know what day it is. It's Wednesday, middle of the week. Time to act a fool with you. You know, and this time we got a panel full. You already know me, Uncle Pudge, your favorite, America's favorite uncle. To my left, America's favorite cousin, Mr. Unhinged himself, Jody Skywalker. And introducing in the house, be the CEO. This is his first appearance this year on Unhinged. And then we got the pastor, Mr. Maurice Ball, my man Benji out in Cali, and then Big Ken, not Little Ken, Big Ken. How y'all fellas doing?
We straight. We on.
Hold it, bro.
Oh yeah. What's on tap, Mr. Stokes?
Listen, what's up, my peoples? Welcome to Wednesday, your middle of your week therapy session. Listen, a couple weeks ago, I had this idea that I wanted to have talk about, dope dads doing dope things because we always see moms get love. So I wanted to show the dad some love. So I brought a couple of my favorite dads in here, you know what I'm saying, of all ages, got kids of all ages, you know what I'm saying, to talk about dad stuff. But before we get into that, play this intro and we'll get into it, y'all.
So.
Oh, my baby daddy just got out of jail, and he mad because I'm dating you, so he want to fight you. And I was like, Florida. Oh, okay. I'm not fighting that big ass.
I woke up and rolled me a split, then I dipped off on
You know what, man?
Gotta get moving on it, can't be waiting on it
She
when
with
the
more
shit on it.
orgasm, so I gotta get rid
Word
of
in
it.
my hands,
So
yeah, to just get sick in the plan, but
you can't,
I'ma be rinsing my
put me
hands.
out there like that,
Done with
baby.
these niggas that's saying they all
She
about
messing
it,
with
but
my,
just talk
my
about
success
it.
rate. Had to let it
Niggas
go.
is thirsty, you bring up some money, they bring up another topic.
I'm like, hey, bro, you bitch looked at me with some funny looking eyes. I don't know what that shit meant, but she looked at me.
If you say you love that and that person is your friend, then you gotta do the tough thing. You gotta make them aware.
You know, yeah, Christopher does sound salty. I told you in the beginning, I'm that shit.
Listening to this generation. I'm sorry.
And
Like I said, everybody that dates my brothers, my close friends, all you are now, you no longer a chick in mine. You just a dude with breasts. Really cool dude with breasts. That's it.
Ain't nothing like it, oh, ain't nothing like it, ain't nothing like it. Last year we made 20 bands and spent 12 on bills.
Yo, every time I hear that intro, I think to myself, maybe we could do a little bit better. We need to do just a little bit better. Not a lot, just a little bit. But
Just a little bit.
just a little bit, man.
Just a smidge.
So before we do anything, I'm gonna let everybody go around, introduce themselves, introduce their thing. Be the CEO, you wanna go first?
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, I want you to go.
This your show. I'm not hosting. You tell me what to do.
Okay,
But,
B, go around.
everybody should know. Everybody should know the name. Be the CEO, the head leader of Family Talk. Let's discuss it. I don't know what much more to say. You should plug us every show so they should know who I am. So I'm the CEO of Family Talk. Let's discuss it. I don't know much more to say. I don't know what more to say.
I just
You
want
know who
to
that man is?
Right.
Mr. Ball.
Oh, yo, I am Maurice Ball, but on some of the shows they call me Pastor. So
I watched the show.
Yeah, and I rock with Jody on another podcast. And other than that, I'm a dad just like everybody on here, and an entrepreneur and business owner like everybody on here, and just trying to make a difference like everybody on here.
Sure.
Mr. Banks.
What's up with it? It's your boy, Benji Banks, co-host of the 5 Session Podcast. And we here, man. We kind of a mixed bag of everything lovely and beautiful. You know what I mean? So got our hands into a little bit of everything. So, but that's me. It wouldn't be me if I wasn't doing everything.
All right, love to hear it. And last but not least, Big Ken.
Yo, what up? It's Big Ken, a part of the Fire Session cast. We bring you a lot of different stuff. I always like to say we put the medicine in the candy. We're gonna get something that's entertainment, that has some great value to bring you in, but we're gonna always leave you with something to take with you. So that's what we're trying to do today with these fathers on this panel, trying to help educate people on being a better father, and hopefully we can help somebody else out there.
For sure.
All right, we love it. So listen, pop into it, man. Our first question of the night. Oh wait, I be slipping. Get into our fan question. So our fan question of this evening is: who is your favorite TV or movie dad? It could be from the movie.
I mean, Bill Cosby for me. I mean, he's Cliff Huxtable. So that was, I always mention him. I kind of grew up watching that and kind of drawing inspiration from that. So Heathcliff for me. Plus he had that fine Felicia Rashad as his wife. So yeah, if you can pull Felicia Rashad, you're my favorite dad. Period.
I ain't mad at it.
It's a mix between Cliff Huxtable and what's my man's dad from Boys in the Hood?
Trey?
I know who you're talking about, Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne.
I was about to say Ike
the
Turner.
pops, but so like those are two of my
Furious
favorite dads.
Furious Styles.
Yeah,
that was his name in the movie.
That was his name, Furious Styles. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
you said Lawrence Fishburne. I automatically like Ike Turner.
You trying to help out?
But you was born in what, the 90s, right?
I was born in the 80s. Don't do me like that.
Okay. Same thing.
Same thing. Mine's, I would have to say Damon Wayans for my wife and kids. I think that's my favorite sitcom dad, along with James Avery. You know, we can't go wrong with Uncle Phil. Can't go wrong with Uncle Phil. I don't really have a favorite movie dad. I think I have to go with Lawrence Fishburne and Boys in the Hood as well, just because he said that. But those are my two sitcom guys.
I think for me it's Uncle Phil, and if I'm gonna go movie, I'm gonna go Charles S. Dutton in Minister Society.
Sure.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
Tell
a good one.
James Evans, Good Times.
Right in your throat.
Because it was filmed in Chicago, man. I used to take the L past them projects all the time, man. Representing Chicago. And also Cliff Huxtable, of course. You know, he had I like to think I'm a mix of both of them put together.
Okay.
You know, no nonsense when it comes down, but caring and nurturing and guiding to my kids. So those are my two. Uncle Phil gets an honorable mention, and
What's Good Times? Is that a TV show?
Oh my God, man! What's Good Times? Oh my God!
I know you're joking right now, right?
I'm just joking. I was
going to say you just had to watch the show because of film.
He was born in 95, so he don't have no idea.
I mean, if you didn't watch the show because of Thelma, I don't know what else got your attention.
I watched all the old heads all upset. I watched
Janet Jackson was on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite TV dad. You know what? I know it's gonna be a little off the grid, but you know what? Ghost from Power. He was like my favorite because he was just always so real. And it's just like even when his son pissed him off, he woke him up with a pistol and was like, "Wake up, sleepy time's over, motherfucker, get up." And it was just always something with him and his son. So I was like, y'all rock with that dude. I could get behind him.
Right.
Okay, my second favorite TV dad, and I know this is a little unorthodox too. I would have to go with the dude from Ozark, the dad from Ozark. He was a true G. That dude taught his son how to like fondle money and offshore accounts and stuff. And I was like, you know what? If you're gonna do wrong, you're gonna teach your son wrong. So I'm teaching him how to get away with it. So I was like, I admired them two cats.
Right.
Time.
So it's safe to say you like crime.
That's what I was going to say. Criminals. You like criminals.
I just like dudes that be like realistic. Like, hey, we about to do this. So, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no point in me sugarcoating and hiding from you. So I'm going to show you how to do it so you don't get caught trying to outdo me in it. So,
that's how you would treat your son. Yeah. I mean, I can see
I appreciate the realness of like trying not to get caught. So, yeah, those are my two favorite dads. Oh man, that's what's up, man. Well, you know, tell you can't be putting Uncle Phil in honorable mentions, man. Uncle Phil's a legend out here in these streets.
Man, you know, Uncle Phil, you got Mr. Drummond from
I mean, you know, you got to put the white guy in there. I'm just saying. Raising two Negro sons.
Right.
That's a challenge from the hood.
Yeah.
In the 70s. You know,
right.
You know what?
80s.
What about the dad?
Janet Jackson.
What about the dad from the Brady Bunch? He took on 3 kids that wasn't even his. So hats off to him.
I don't know about him. I think he was a sucker, man. I don't know.
I don't know. He was actually ahead of his time because a bunch of dudes out there doing the same thing right now.
Man, he didn't. I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, that Brady Bunch would have been a little bit more integrated. It'd been me, 3 chicks that weren't related to me in my house. Man, you done served them up. That's all you did, Dad. High five. And my sisters. Marshall would have been getting banged out.
So listen, y'all know what time it is. It is time. It's time for Corner Time with Uncle Pudge. Who we got going this week?
Well, this week, first of all, disclaimer, I love this dude. That's my boy, but I got to put Dennis Rodman in the corner this week, man.
Oh, okay.
I love the Worm. Dyed my hair like him and everything. But the Worm needed to sit his ass down and not try to go over to Russia and help Brittany Griner. Sit your ass down, Worm, because you get your ass over there, they might take your ass hostage. Then we got to give up somebody else to get the Worm back. You know, like, leave it alone. She over there. She made her bed. Stop. Hey, you wouldn't go your ass over there if it was me. You say, Dennis, Uncle Pudge in trouble. He needs your help. Click, he hang up the phone in his face. You know, like, I don't know him. So don't do it. You know, the United States government, as he said, persuaded him not to go there. I'm like, yeah, that's the best thing they could have done for you because you don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah. Little plot twist. So,
yeah. Maybe that's it, you know, you got the Worm in the cell somewhere, you know, being shackled up. And you're like, damn, you got to free Dennis. You know, I mean, I understand. You went over there and kicked it with Kim Jong-un and got plugged and nothing happened to you. But this dude in Russia a little bit off the chain. So leave him alone. Let the U.S. handle that on their own. So she'll be back. Don't worry. She won't see 9 years.
So what you're saying is instead of him going to Russia, you sending him to the corner for a cool down period.
Yeah. Because I don't want to see the Worm shackled up, man. That's just
He gonna be over there like they did the All-Stars on what's the Michael Jordan movie Space Jam. He gonna be playing.
Oh, yeah. Gonna have him sign
playing basketball. He keep messing around.
Right.
Losing and stuff, letting little 5-1 people out rebound him. Every time you like, no, you know, just embarrassing the Worm. You need to let it go, man. I know you may be bored. Go find something else. Go find Madonna. Go do something.
Find your boy Doc.
But think about this. What if they just let him go over there, and when he's leaving, she's with him?
They're gonna kill the Worm over here.
Worm would have been epic for that, but
you know what that does for him as far as politically?
Oh, they're gonna assassinate Worm over here.
You're Lord at that moment.
You're like, that man be talking about running for president.
I'm about to say
kill him.
the way this country going. Hell, Dennis Rodman be the next person up for president. He go over there and get Brittany Griner back. Shit.
For real.
For sure.
You get all the women's support. Trust me.
We have all the
Everybody.
LGBTQ
Because
votes.
I said the same thing. I'm like, he might be the one that can get her free. Like, that would be, oh man, that'd be terrible. Man, that'd be terrible for the U.S. Joe Biden to get ran out of office. Everybody, Kamala, everybody, man. It's just sit down, Worm.
To the court, huh?
Just let the U.S. take the wheel on this.
Yo, man, that's my favorite time of the week. Memes of the week. This is my favorite time. I was like, you know what? This is the best thing I ever thought about. So this week, our first meme is, showing love to the ladies. I found this one. It says, "Hold up, bitch. I need a break." Damn.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Let us pray.
Right. We have a pastor on the show, but hey.
Hey, that's all right though. He one of them cool passes. He with it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
You already in the shower, but your stomach.
Man, that's real deal right now. That's real
I know
deal.
that, man. I didn't have to do that a couple of times. Like,
I use that clip to advertise for our show.
Like, why he lathered up like he
Hey,
covered with whipped cream.
He couldn't wait. You know what I'm saying? He got to park down now.
That's real life right there.
Oh man.
Yes, buddy.
Sometimes it just can't wait.
So the third meme, and it's supposed to be serious, but I thought it would be a good meme, is National Education Association Teacher Union proposed changing mother to birthing parent to be more inclusive to the LGBT community. Shut the fuck up.
Just trying to redefine everything, huh?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Doing too much.
Let us pray.
That's it.
Somebody
Somebody posted this. I don't know who. Getting pregnant by your baby daddy again after telling the world he ain't shit should lower your credit score.
The credit score probably already low.
That's
can't get no lower than what it is.
probably already low.
I'm
Just
just saying.
embrace it.
So
You got a
I
zero.
usually give about like 7-8 memes, but I figured, you know what I'm saying? I want to throw a video in for this week. You know what I'm saying? I want to share a video with the people. So I'm gonna share a video for our last meme of the week.
Ladies, how are we going to get on the same page? We agree on most shit, right? You think that we disagree on a lot, sweetheart? Like what? Like what? Really? I went to one of them women's marches and we had a lot in common. I saw those girls screaming, "Free the nipple." Yeah, that sounds pretty good. They were screaming, "We should be able to have sex with as many guys as we want." Yes, you should. If we get pregnant, we should be able to abort it. Hopefully. And we need to work so we can pay our half. Hallelujah. Fellas, get down here. It's happening. We've reached common ground. It was unbelievable. These women were fighting for the right to become the men they've always hated. Just walking around with their shirts off, fucking whoever, not worried about the kid. I'm like, are y'all feminists or fuckboys? What is this shit?
I like that. I like that.
I thought that was a pretty funny damn video when he said that, and I was like, you know what? You know that sounds like a whole topic to me. You know what I'm saying? Are we feminists or fuckboys? So, before we hop right into my main topic, right? I seen something a little bit earlier this afternoon, and I had to touch on it. You know, we've touched on the Will Smith slap, and we've touched on the apology, right? But I want to focus on Chris Rock right now, okay? Couple weeks ago, give y'all you here. Chris Rock declined an offer to host the 2023 Oscars. Said it was like asking Nicole Simpson to go back to the restaurant where she left her glasses before her murder. And Nicole's sister came back and said, It was lame of Chris to compare his Oscar slap to Nicole's murder. Lacks logic and basic connection. Um, Real quick, you know what I'm saying, gentlemen, I just want to get a go around in the room. How are we feeling at this point? Because at this point, I'm almost like, you know what? I kind of see why Will slapped you now. Because nigga, shut up. I'm kind of seeing why you got your ass slapped now. Because you don't know when to be quiet. How is everybody?
I don't think it's he don't know to be quiet. He was asked the question and he answered it. He answered it the best way he possibly could. And Chris Rock is a comedian, so he answered it in a comedian set. So that's how I look at it. Just like it was a comedian set when he got slapped. He's a comedian. What do you expect out of Chris Rock? What else do you expect out of Chris Rock? Now, I wouldn't have compared a slap to a murder. Me personally, I wouldn't have done it. But that's Chris Rock. What do you expect for him to say?
I don't know. So,
I think, like, I think you have to be a little bit sensitive to some of that stuff, though. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand that.
She, you're saying you were smacked, but you're still living. And you're talking about murder. And if you hadn't experienced that, I would have been offended if somebody said that. Like, my dad was murdered, so I'd have felt some kind of way about some foolishness if somebody said something like that too. You know what I mean? Like that's insensitive because it has nothing to do with the topic. He could have chose 100 other things. He could have chose OJ. He could have, and it's still murder. He could have chose any other topic, any other something that didn't have another family who's grieving, who still may be grieving, who's, you know what I'm saying? Like that could have triggered something in them, and all kind of stuff. So I think that was real insensitive of him to say that. But I understand why he said it, but that just a bad reference or
a bad joke.
I agree.
But I just want to say this because I've been in the comedy for a long time, man. And I think we have to understand that, sure, he needs to be more respectful to that. But if you really break down what he said, he didn't say anything about her murder. He said before. He said it's just like asking her to go back in that sequence before. So I think we have to pay more attention to the wording rather than the situation that he's discussing, because oftentimes they're just like when you read a headline, some of the headline will catch your attention, but you don't read the full caption and get the full effect of it. So Chris Rock is always, I'm not saying he's correct, but I'm just saying thinking as a comic and thinking as the way he thinks. And you also have to look at the era that he comes from before now, where things are really sensitive, like George Carlin and those type of guys cut from that cloth. Like they used to say a lot of offensive stuff.
Right.
And that was the way comedy was built, and that's where he's from. So for him, that's where, his mind is, and that's where, he's made his living doing that. So does he need to adapt to now? Maybe, but there are a lot of comics out there like Dave Chappelle who say things all the time, and it's just taken with a grain of salt, and people laugh at it. So I think it's just a matter of he's already under fire because of the Will Smith slap, and then he says that, so that just adds fuel to what he's already been been under the fire for.
And he's adding fuel to the fire while the iron is hot, so to speak, already anyway. And that's what you do as a comedian. You push the limit. You can't be a sissy, if that's the right term. I hate to use that, but you gotta be. you gotta be, because art in itself as a visual has no limit. You gotta literally push the envelope to get your point out there. If you go into comedy, clean comedy, different story. But how many? Chris Rock ain't into clean comedy. He done played the crackhead. He done played all of that. So you get what I'm saying? Like, I think what most people want is they want to dumb down the art of it. And I don't think that that's what you should do. It has no barriers. You should be able to say what you want because it's art. You're expressing something that's funny. So, I mean, I understand where it could get, a little, weird for some people, but you can't go into a comedy show and get offended by something. You get what I'm saying? Like it's you already know it's going to be offensive already. So, and if you've been to a live show, it's 10 times way worse than it is than what we see on TV. You know what I mean? It's way worse live because the edits, you don't edit out nothing. I've seen DL and I've seen all these guys, man. They go in at the live show. So
I mean, people do walk into a comedy show trying not to be offended. I mean, that's their fault though. So
right, you should want to be offended because it pushes your barriers a little bit.
Yeah, if I don't hit you with one of the that's gonna offend some people, but it's funny. It really ain't that funny. I like that offensive comedy.
Right.
Like push the barriers.
Right.
So all right, so let's get into it tonight. So tonight, I thought it'd be dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we always showing love to the moms. And I wanted to actually talk to a bunch of dads, and especially black dads raising sons. And I wanted to talk about, you know what I'm saying, not carrying on like bad stereotypes and kind of, you know what I'm saying, there's a lot of people out there who are broken raising broken kids. So I wanted to hear from father's point of view, especially as pivotal as times we are in now, about raising your sons, because I say there is a very, very deep lack, and especially in the black community, of fathers with their sons. And there's a lot of things that these grown men are not being taught as kids. So it's like I wanted to talk to some of the fathers tonight to get some opinions, and I wanted to ask some questions. So I'm kind of doing this interview style because I'm the only one without any sons on this show. So I'm doing this interview style. So I'm gonna be asking y'all the questions. So my first question of the night is biggest lesson you want to teach your son that you were not taught.
Who want to take that one? You picking, or you just gonna let us roll?
I'm gonna let whoever ready. Biggest lesson that you want to teach your son that you were not taught.
My biggest. Go ahead. You in there, B?
No, go ahead, Benji. I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead.
This might cut a little bit, but son, do not fall in love with a garden tool. Do not fall in love. Do not listen to me. All right, make sure you get me this clip. My biggest prayer is, Lord, don't let my son fall in love with a hoe, because she can do all the things that you might imagine sexually. You get what I'm saying? But you cannot base your life off of falling in love with that idea or that concept. You get what I'm saying? Like, you have to be very, very, very careful, because you can get one and she can make you feel like you are her world by doing the things that you as a little boy might imagine, or you might see, or you might want to experience. Mm-hmm. So that to me is big, especially as we progress further and further and further to women being able to expose themselves kind of in any way that they want to on social media. That's one of my things that I'm like, now I'm not condemning, because listen to me, I love me. I'm older now, so I love me a good garden tool. You get what I'm saying? Because, it's a great thing. All right. But listen to me. When it comes down to brass tacks, like, you got to understand, either you man enough and mature enough to handle a woman who gets down like that, or you're not. You could be in a world of trouble thinking that, because she smashed you good, that she love you. So, and as he grows, I want him to understand that, focusing on, the snatch, as we used to call it, and the what we call it, Ken, the guwap,
the Gok 3000,
Gok 3000, all of that. You get what I'm saying? That's a lift your hands moment. All right, we in there. But I want that's my biggest thing. Coming up, those were lessons that you went out and you had to kind of experience, because they weren't telling you up front and off the top about these things. You know what I mean? Or we wasn't listening, because you come up around the hustling and pimping background and stuff like that. But if you're not careful, you in a world of trouble thinking this girl love you. So be careful.
You know what? Honestly, that's real advice. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's real.
I'm not mad at you for falling in love, but I want you to be careful of who you fall in love with.
Fall in love with a virgin if that's possible.
Yeah, how many boys you got? How many boys their age?
I got 2 boys, so and they're about 10 years apart. So you know what I mean? So the oldest is 23. Matter of fact, his birthday was a couple of days ago on the 28th.
Happy birthday to young man.
Happy birthday.
Yes,
happy
sir.
birthday.
And then my youngest is 13.
Okay.
And you know, he's that sponge. So he's at that impressionable age. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And he's got style, he's got swag, he's a smart kid. And I know just from experience, man, women target. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's the name of the game. You target. I'm not saying men don't do it, but we ain't talking about that aspect right now. We're talking about this part. That's a whole nother show. But women target, and they know talent, they know culpability, they know smarts, they know all of that when you see it. You get what I'm saying? And so I want him to be mature enough to understand what it's all about. You get what I'm saying? So that takes work, and those are lessons, man. Like, you know, I want him to get.
Okay. Well, hey man, I rock with that. B. Same question to you. Biggest lesson you want to teach your son that you weren't taught?
To the you weren't taught piece, and I look at it at a different aspect. I'm being taught something every day, and that's something I'm teaching my kids. You're gonna be taught something every day. I don't know it all. A lot of this stuff was taught, or the lessons that I got was from my mom. You know what I mean? So, and
Right.
she raised us in that as best as she could. And that's probably not even the best time. She raised us good as far as what the man me and my brothers came up to be. But the biggest thing that I'm teaching my boys is and especially with Elijah, because he's impressionable too. He's 12 going on 13 in a couple weeks. Be okay with yourself. Be okay with who you are. He's at the stage where, like Benji said, he's a sponge and he sees what everybody else is doing and he's assuming that that's cool. And one thing I had to tell him the other day, I'm the coolest man walking this planet, but I don't need somebody else to tell me that. I got to be okay with myself. I got to be okay with who I am. I got to be okay with who I'm around. Also, watch who you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those kids that want to be friends with everybody. Everybody ain't your friend, son. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna have to grow up and learn some of that, you know, by experience. But that's one of my big things is what I'm preaching to him right now, just being who he is. Not going out being someone that you're not, because it's not gonna work out for you being someone that you're not. So off the top of my head, that's the biggest thing that I'm preaching right now.
But you know what? That's a really good aspect because you're gonna get a lot further in life being yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because if you being something that you're not, it eventually gonna break. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Is he practicing his basketball? He getting on the team this year?
Hey, I told him, I was like, it ain't gonna be handed to him this year. It ain't like me, mom and dad can go sign him up. He got to try out. So I told him you got to get out there and put in the work. And his favorite basketball player is Steph Curry. Now, I always tell him Steph is where he at because he put in the work, not because he say so. Not because he say he want to do it. You know what I'm saying? LeBron put in the work. Jordan put in the work. And that's why you see their faces on TV. If you want to be there, you got to put in the work. Just because you say you want to do it, you know, it's not just going to be handed to you. So he going to be out this year. We're going to see how it work out. We'll let y'all know how it work out.
Hey, let him know. Steph don't leave practice till he make 100 threes. Not shoot.
Hey, I done told him. I like Steph lead the gym without. I mean, he can't lead the gym unless he make 400, 500 threes, bro. He can't lead the gym.
We got a shooter. We got a shooter to which way is it? That way. We got a shooter. My man can't be putting up 500 jumpers when he in that joint.
See?
And how's my boy Zay? Zay first day of pre-K. How did that go?
Oh man, first day of pre-K was amazing. He was excited. I got home and he told me that he was reading books. He was singing and he was playing with Transformers and stuff. Okay. So he excited, man. It's real cool for him to be in preschool. We got him out of daycare. I think he too smart to be sitting in daycare. So we put him in preschool so we can involve that mind. And he my next little stud we coming up with. So
we love to see it. My man be getting he get the pre-nap. You know what I'm saying? He get the nap
before
you. yeah. Mr. Ball, same question. Biggest lesson you want to teach your son that you weren't taught?
You know, I think my situation is probably different than mostly everybody on here, I was raised by a single dad in the 80s. So I learned all the stuff that I learned from my dad. I learned emotional stability. I learned how to cook. I learned how to clean. I learned I learned all that stuff from a man. Um, but one of the things that I think that that I mean the main thing that I'm trying to teach my son is sort of in the line with be the CEO and with what's my man with the hat? I can
Benji.
Benji. Okay, yeah. So I don't. My son don't date. He's a 16-year-old, and I'm anti dating because there's
I
three
am too.
things that he needs to focus on at this age: is his God, his grade, and his craft. And anything
Absolutely.
outside of that is a distraction. We got somewhere we trying to go. He's trying to play college basketball.
Right.
So we don't have time for foolishness and distractions. So
Right.
we don't date. Now you can hang out, you can you can kick it, you can chill, but we don't date. But one of the things
I agree with that, by the way, because I'm Jesus, school, and your grades, your career. That's it. I hate it when my
I
daughter
do.
wants to date.
So my day job is I run a mentorship program called Life Literacy Academy. So I'm in about 7 schools. I go and mentor middle school and high schoolers on life skills. And so one of the main things that I talk about is not dating, because I see these broken kids coming who go get in these relationships and end up becoming broken and never recover. And now they're just broken all the way up through life. So,
Right.
But what the things that I'm trying to teach him is be comfortable in your own skin. Don't follow the crowd. Like, you have your own mind. There was a period where I allowed somebody else to think for me. And anytime you allow somebody else to think for you, they're going to think for what's in their best interest, not your best interest. And so I'm trying to get him to understand, like, bro, you have a mind. Use it. Don't take somebody else's word or somebody else's perception of something. Like he had he's a senior, and so they had a little getaway this week. And I'm like, yo, you going to the getaway? He was like, yeah, I want to go to the getaway. Go. Then all of a sudden he don't want to go. So he went from being really excited to not wanting to go. So of course I'm questioning it because I see these, it's like it wasn't a gradual shift. It was 0 to 60 and then 60 to 0. So immediately I'm thinking, yo, what's up? Like, why you don't want to go? Now, do I got to come to the school? Because I'll fight kids. You know what I mean? Like, if there's some beef going on, if somebody's bullying you, I mean, we live in an area where we're the 1%. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's us. When you look at the city's website, who's the black family on there? We live in the area where he's in a school where it's probably 50 or 60 black kids. So for him to make that drastic shift, I'm thinking that it was something was popping off. But he was like, no, such and such said it wasn't fun. I'm like, how you gonna know? They don't know. They wasn't a senior last year. So you got to start formulating your own thoughts. You got to start thinking for yourself. You got to be able to experience stuff for yourself. And so he's starting to see that. And because again, 16 is an impressionable age, but at the same time, I keep him so active and so busy, he don't have time for the distractions. But I kind of got off on the tangent on what you asked, but I think being comfortable in his skin, not dating, and being okay with expressing your emotions. I think like my dad, he hugged me, he kissed me, he cried. I was able to cry. It wasn't no, men don't cry kind of thing. And I'm trying to help him understand that it's okay to have emotions, but not let your emotions control your outcomes, because emotions make for a bad compass. And so when you put you get all these emotions and you all like this, you can't really gauge how you need to respond or how you need to react. And so as a 16-year-old, it's who's going to be graduating at 17 and going off to college. There's a whole lot of things that I don't feel that that he's equipped with over the next 9 months to be able to, go out here and live. But those are the things but I was taught that stuff from my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was taught about the women. He taught me that. He taught me to be okay with myself. He taught me. It's just now reaffirming it and then be an example, because kids do what you do.
Right.
They don't do what you say. Like I was doing something, I was talking to him the other day, and he made this face. And I was like, yo, what's up with the face? He was like, but you do it to mom all the time when you don't want to hear her. And I was like, well,
and then you can't say nothing. What can you say?
Swallow that one, because you swallow that one and just like, oh,
so
okay.
my response was, I want you to be better than me. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. Yeah,
switch, you know, like, don't do what I do. Be better than what I do. So yeah, man,
that's funny. But that's
one thing I like to. Oh, my bad.
I was just saying, Maurice, compass makes for motions make for a bad compass. That's something that
I like that. I like that. One thing I like to tell Elijah also, and not just Elijah, all of them, we can't let our emotions cloud our judgment. It's okay to have them. It's okay to have emotions and go through it. We're human. We're made to have emotions, but don't let that cloud your judgment. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times when they get, I wouldn't say, I would say erratic. They can all get erratic at sometimes, and have them. You can be in that emotional state, but don't try to make a decision while in that emotional state. I'm not saying you can't have it. You can have it, but let's not have it cloud our judgment. So that compass one, I like that. I'm still that one, Maurice. I'm still that one.
Oh, you can take it. Ain't no copyright.
I got you.
We might have to put that on a t-shirt. Yeah, that's a good
Put that on a t-shirt.
Big Ken, same question goes to you.
Okay,
First of all, how many boys you got, and what's the age?
2. I got 21 and 18.
Oh.
Yeah, grown kids.
So question, real quick, right? Real quick. Have you had the one of them yet?
Yeah. I mean, we had those moments, and wasn't like no punches thrown or anything like that, but it was just that, that moment of, okay, you feeling yourself. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Let me let you know I still got that old man strength.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm a big guy, but my boys are big too. So I think it's just that they get to a certain point, and I was at that point as well at one point where I felt like I wanted to challenge my dad. And it was that point I learned my lesson from that one experience, and it was good from there.
Right.
So that's exactly, history repeated itself. It took one time, and I haven't had any issue from that point forward with either one of them. We've been best of friends.
Listen, I watched my dad put my hands on my cousin that was a little bit bigger than him, and I was like, "Yep, nope, don't want to travel down that path. I'm good on that." But same question goes to you. Biggest lesson you want to teach? You want to teach your sons that you weren't taught?
Well, before I go give my answer, I just wanted to add to what Pastor Ball was saying. My dad always used to tell me to take your heart, but don't let your heart drive. You know what I'm saying? You can use your emotions, but let your brain drive. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. So
that's going on a t-shirt, Ken.
Hey, Big Ken, I'm gonna steal that one too.
Yeah, because I mean, you gotta have that emotional intelligence, as we call it. You know what I'm saying? And the two have to work together, but you can't let your emotions drive you, because it'll take you down a bad path.
And we're using that for the end of the season cliff notes, by the way. Just want you to know.
Fact.
The season finale, I'm going on the cliff notes.
But the biggest thing that I think I wanted to teach my sons that I wasn't taught is how to love. And the biggest thing is what we talk about all the time is love languages. I think love languages and understanding that concept of love languages makes loving people, your son, your daughter, your mother, everybody around you, your friends. It helps you so much, you know what I'm saying, be able to navigate that. And I wasn't taught how to love, because most of the time we just have this natural inclination to love the people we're around. We don't know how to love them. We just know we do.
Right.
But at some point we got to figure out how to love people properly. So I didn't learn that till I became, so I was 30 plus years old, but I want to instill that in them early. So once they get into the stages where they're dating, you know what I'm saying, and they have these little girlfriends and things of that nature, I don't want them to make some of the same mistakes I made, because I wasn't aware of things, emotionally, or how to love and things of that nature, because, our parents were just kind of like, okay, watch us. And For some, it was good, and for some, it was not a great example.
Right.
If you follow the love languages and pay attention to details in each individual and figure out how they want to be loved, it makes everything a whole lot easier for you trying to navigate love and life.
I like that.
Okay, I love that answer. And last but not least, our favorite uncle, Uncle Pudge. We know you got a story in a comment.
You know that. I do, actually.
Huh?
I actually do have a story. It's very entertaining.
That's why we love saving you for last. So,
'Cause,
what are the things that you were teaching your boys and your nephew, right? And your nephew.
And nephews.
What are some of the things you're teaching your two boys and your nephew that you
I teach them accountability for one. Well, I tell them, man, you make a mistake, do something you own up to it. Don't give excuses. Don't look for ways out. Say, hey, you know what? I did it. My bad. I don't know what I was thinking. I probably wasn't thinking. I just didn't do it. I like that to go a lot further in this world. That stupid ass, bro. I don't know. You know, I hate that. When they say, when I ask a person, why'd you do that? I don't know. Who the hell do I need to ask then? Because if you don't know why you did it, then somebody else do.
I don't
you
know.
do know.
I don't know. Don't exist.
Right. I'm like, you know why you did it. Just say, hey, Dad, I did it because I wanted to. I just wanted to see how it was going to turn out. And I'll be like, hey, I've been there too. I get you. Don't do it again because I might have to bust your ass. So,
right.
And that's it. That's all. But, you know, and also to be a leader. Don't be a follower. Stand out. Don't be afraid to stand out and stand on your own. You know, I understand in your world right now, acceptance is a big thing. Dad was a teenager and coming up, so I know about acceptance. But also, be yourself. If they can't accept you for who you are, you don't need those people around you. Trust me. You're going to find plenty of people to, you know, accept you for who you are. You know, you got a crowd. Everybody has a crowd. Trust me. If you ain't found them, they're coming. Don't be worried and so pressed about that stuff. And like my two brothers over here with the dating, you know what? I totally agree with y'all on the dating thing. But, you know, I co-parent with 3 other women. So it don't matter what I say. You know, they going to be with mom. Mom going to let them do some things. I can just only tell them when you're out here dealing with women, you know what? I want you to do one thing for me, and that's treat every woman with respect, no matter what. If she's called a hoe, a slut, still treat them like she was the first lady of the United States. You know, because that's what Dad does. You don't know her story. You don't know what she's going through. You don't even know if them people lying on her. Treat them with respect. Always treat them with respect. And go back to the leadership thing. So one day, here go my story. One day, my youngest Tristan, he had school. So I had his mom come and call me. She had to go up there for a conference. And she was like, yeah, I had a conference with Tristan, and they was telling me some things. So I had to tell you. I was like, what happened? Well, it seems that Tristan was on the playground, and he got a little group of boys, and some girl was making fun of him. And he said to the boys, she talking bad about us. Won't you go over there and handle her? I was like, wait a minute, hold on. The sweetest kid in the world. He putting hits out on people. And, you know, I'm like, nah, the dad,
you gotta be worried about them quiet ones. I'm just saying.
Yeah, boy.
And, you know, as a dad, I'm sitting up there like, that's my boy, man. Look at him. He running the playground. Man got dirty work being. So I can't say that out loud to him. So, you know, I'm like, I'm shocked. I'm like, I can't. But, you know, I had a sense of pride. Like, that's what I'm talking about. You the leader. You tell them to go do some dirty work. You don't get your hands dirty. Not with what I meant, but hey, he understanding what being a leader is about. But I did have a talk with him. I'm like, listen, you just can't be sending people out to do hits on people because they talking about you. Now, like you were being a leader, but we don't want to be that type of leader. You don't want to be John Gotti. You know, you don't want to, have people X'd out.
Hey, hey, you've been watching The Sopranos and The Wire with him around, ain't you?
No, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never watched neither one of them shows. I was shocked, though. I was like,
the Wire was the assassins, bro.
I know. I'm like, he like
that think tank don't stop going, and
sweetest boy in the world, man.
Quick.
Hey,
like,
Tony,
wow.
I bet you search his room. He got Casino on DVD in that mug.
You know what? That boy like Dragon Ball. He be in there watching Dragon Ball and all that other stuff, man.
Take your sons to go see that joint.
We are. We will. But other lessons that I passed down, like my boys was doing something. They was talking about something. But then my daughter chimed in. I listen when my kids talk. They don't think I'm listening. And she said, my son said, Dad, you gonna really do that? And my daughter said, Dad don't care what people think. I said, oh, she gets it. I don't care what people think. That's right. That's the mentality you're supposed to have. Don't care what nobody think. If it makes you feel good, you do it. Do it for yourself. So I'm starting to hear them. And the lessons I keep pounding into them are starting to come out. And I'm like, we're not going to stop. I'm like, and I always pound education. They all tell you that. Education, education, education. I don't play with it. And they'll tell other people, my dad don't play about school. You can get away with some other stuff, but you mess up in school, you got to come see him. And I don't want that. I was like, I understand. Keep pounding. When y'all think they not listening, they listening.
Oh, yeah.
They are. You got to keep pounding. You keep pounding until they can repeat it before you say it. Because that's how my mama was. We be like, here she go again, watch this, blah, 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 blah. Yep, told you, see? She kept pounding in us, pounding. And I swear to God, when I became older, I hear her voice on certain situations.
I'll be talking about mom, because when she popped back in the comments, I'm going to show them and tell her you talk bad about her.
Oh, no, I talk good about her. Oh, man, she know. She know I talk to her every day and tell her, you was something else when we was growing up, man. You know, all the lessons you taught me, I'll be sitting here like, man, she was right. That's crazy. And, like, how she know that? I'm like, hey, she ain't 63 for nothing. She learned something. And that's why I tell my kids, I ain't 45 for nothing. I learned some stuff. Keep your mind on them books. Don't worry about no boyfriend, girlfriend. You got plenty of time for that.
Right.
I told my daughter, we ain't dating until we get to college. She said, college? I was like, yeah, because we got a mission. we got something to do. You don't have to worry about dating in high school. College.
I call it ROI. Okay. I need to return on this investment. And so,
right. I'm like, we can't stop. We can't be distracted. College.
Yeah.
I told the boys the same. Hey, college. You got plenty of time. I'm like, matter of fact, when you get to college, that's probably where you're going to meet your wife. Because you got two people focused on a goal, trying to achieve something. That's when, you be like, oh, yeah, we on the same page.
They're going to be something in college, depending on where they go.
Yeah, they're going to be something.
Right.
The goal for me always was hopefully you run into somebody that's healed, in their phase of progressing forward, just like you are, instead of constantly running into broken people. And that's what I think a lot of the dating market kind of does. You're just constantly running into broken people all the time.
Yeah.
Reopening old wounds, old issues, old problems. And you just, as the great Sugar Free would say, same girl, different shirt. You get what I'm saying? You're just running into the same people over and over and over again because nobody is stopping to say, you know what? No, none of that. Like leave all of that out. Focus on your goals and your career and things of that nature. And when you popping, everything gonna be attracted to it. You trust that? That's gonna happen automatically. But let it come to you instead of you flocking to it.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, I love all those answers. So Telly, you answered your question, right, about your mom repeating the same thing over and over. So that brings us to our next question, right? What is the one piece of advice that you are going to keep preaching to your kids, especially your boys, to the day you die, to the day you roll up, the day they put you in that casket? What is the one piece of advice that your son can be like? He said that to nod to the time came.
Huh. Be careful where you stick your wee wee. Bottom line.
That's facts, though. That's facts.
Man, be careful where you put that thing at. I started them at 10. Listen, you coming into about a few more years, you may be getting a little urge, your little thing may start moving. Like, ooh, you stick your thing in some little chick, and you come home, as you turn pregnant, hey, you see all these wonderful gifts and toys you got, they getting sold. You gonna take care of a baby. Fun time over with. I'm like, it's over.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
my
what
dad
you
told me, man. Yo,
You gonna preach
you
that
bring
when
the
they hit
baby up in
30?
this piece,
Huh?
all that stuff stops.
Man, for real. I'm like, all you gotta focus on is that kid.
You like Jordans? Like
That
my dad
stops.
was like, you like Jordan? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, bring a baby up in here.
Right.
Because $125 back then buy a bunch of diapers. You know what I'm saying? And I tell my son the same thing. I'm like, bro, I like you all this stuff right here. I don't take care of grown kids. I don't take care of grown kids. When you come in and you want to be grown, it's your responsibility. But one of the things I preach to him is consistency. Whatever you do, consistency and hard work. So, and I hear the other dads on here talking about about their sons and playing sports and they got to grind to get there. This is, my son is a really good basketball player.
Right.
Now, his problem is he's not consistent, but it's not just in basketball. He's not consistent across the board. So my thing is I need you to be consistent at working hard, because hard work is universal. It don't matter what the craft is, you're going to still need hard work wherever you go. If you're going to be a doctor, hard work. If you're going to be a teacher, hard work. If you're going to be the best garbage man, hard work. If you go into the league, hard work. So when you can build yourself and be known for working hard and being consistent, things happen for you. So just always be consistent and always tell the truth. Like, yes, like he would. So he just got his license yesterday. And so I pull up to the crib and he's lingering. So I'm like, okay, he wants something. I'm like, what you want, man? He's like, good, man. I'm like, dude, you lingering. What you want? He's like, I want to drive. I was like, you already know you can't drive my car because so we own a kickboxing gym and I got average. So my car is wrapped and he's not insured to drive that car. You know what I'm saying? So he got to drive his mama car. But she already told him, like, nah, you're not driving my car. So he's sitting here trying to plot with me how we going to manipulate her to get her to drive her whip. And I'm like, dude, don't put me in that. Like, he's like, I'll just tell you that you want something from the store. No, don't tell her I want anything. don't tell her. Because I'm like, so I took him all the way back to when he was younger. I was like, man, what did we tell you when you was younger? Keep your hands to yourself, pay attention, follow directions, and always tell the truth. I like, don't start lying now, because once you violate that trust, it's gone. So don't lie and say that I want something from the store. Just go. It goes back to accountability. Just go in there and say, Mom, I just want to drive your car to go to the store. And he did that. And so he didn't have to bring me into the lie. And she ended up letting him go get some food, not up the street, a little ways away. And he came back and he felt all good. And he's like, I own that. But I'm like, yeah, you should have, you know what I'm saying? Like, but be consistent and work hard and always remember when you walk out the crib, what name you represent.
Right. That's literally what mine is. I teach my son, your name means something.
Well,
Yes.
I'm so
Represent
glad there's
your
such a
full name.
that
Represent your name to the max. I don't care where you are, where you at. Don't be so quick to give off your last name. Your name means something. Make something great of it. You're a Banks boy, so make something of it. Like there's greatness inside of you. So represent it. As soon as you step out the house, from what you put on to how you talk to the school you at, make sure and he's won the president award, 2 years in a row at the school. So he's like the popping, smart, swag kid at the school. You get what I'm saying? But like represent yourself, represent your name. Like when I pull up to your school, I ain't pulling up acting a fool. So I'm going to pull up representing who I am. And if I'm your dad, if I show up acting a fool, they gonna look like, okay, typical. You get what I'm saying? And regardless of the stigma or whatever out there, we walk with our heads high and we walk with a certain, aura. But that comes from knowing that your name means something and you represent it. So I hammer that into him. And that's the one thing with my older son, I tried to hammer in as well. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't always work, but whatever the iron, wherever you hit and the iron strikes and the sparks fly, that's what you stick with. You get what I'm saying? That's what you work with. And so that's the phase for me with my boy. So
that's what's up. I like that. Maurice, I'm so glad that your son got the light lesson on driving because when I got my license, my dad was like, I'm not about to deal with you and wanting to drive. We went to Georgia on the back roads for 7 hours. By the time we were done with that trip, and I'm thinking I'm gonna drive a little bit. No, he made me drive the entire way. By the time we got back, I didn't want to see the driver's seat of a car for about a month. I was like, I'm good.
done with.
Hey, the old school cats probably getting that gas. Let me get that gas off your chest because I know it's done. So after about 12 hours of driving, I was done. So I'm glad he got the light lesson of it. I got 12 hours.
Well, we did that. So we was taking him to a basketball camp in Chattanooga, and he actually took the first 2 hours from where we live at. Chattanooga is about 5 hours.
Okay.
So he did the first two strong. I mean, I actually even dozed off. My wife in the back seat. I was like, "Yo, I can get used to this." You know,
facts.
Being chauffeured around, I'm all right.
Hey, get him a little vest. Start calling him Jeffrey.
Hey,
pay that man. Pay that man the chauffeur. Son, I give you $10 to take me up the street.
For real, take me up the block real quick.
Hey, he said, you using my gas in my car. Hey, you doing this?
I mean, you got to teach them that little quick responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Well, pull up to the store real quick. I need, you know what I'm saying? You in the passenger seat. I'm a guest officially now. So brother wants some chips and a soda. So didn't I give you $10? You know what I'm saying? Here's the car. Run in there. You got to teach the whole ball. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm a guest in this thing right now. Treat me as such.
That's right. Mr. CEO, what's the one thing that you are going? What's the one piece of advice you are preaching to those boys to the day you die?
Well, it's a lot. I mean, I kind of do my preaching in phases. But the most important thing that I'm gonna forever say that comes to mind is we got to keep Christ first in everything we do. We got to keep God intertwined in everything we do. I lead by faith, and I need them to lead by faith, especially African American men growing up in this type of society. It's different from when we were growing up, and even back then, my mother was still preaching, keep Christ first. But that's the biggest thing right there, keeping God first in everything that you do, no matter what it is. He deserves all the praise, He deserves all the worship. But I got a couple of them, man. Y'all already done mentioned a lot of them. One of my main things is teaching them to know who they dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Let's know who you're dealing with. When something happens and if something boils down to something, nothing should surprise you the way that situation could potentially go down. So know who you're dealing with. That's something that my mama preached to me till this day. I'm 34, and my mama still say in my ear, you need to continue to know who you're dealing with. Yep. It's a lot, man. I know somebody mentioned accountability. I speak on accountability a lot, and I tell them all the time there's consequences to good and bad. don't think you ain't gonna have no type of consequences to anything that you do, good or bad. Whatever you do, you stand on that. You know, that's one thing that I was raised with. Whatever you do, whatever words you got, stand on it, right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't gonna be playing the fence. You stand on it, right or wrong. So, those are my main things. My main things right now. Like I said, I preach in phases. So, like I said, Elijah 12 right now. So we're trying to get through certain things with the 12-year-olds, and girls ain't in the picture yet. It's coming. But I'm preaching in phases. So, but those are my top things that I'm preaching until the day that I die.
Please don't send him to Jimmy for any girl advice. Please don't. Lord, please don't.
Hey, they love their Uncle Jimmy, man. If Uncle Jimmy ain't gonna stir him on the wrong way.
I send him to Nick. I'd rather not go talk to Nick. Send him to Nick. Please don't send him to Nick. If I say this, I want to chime in on this one because I am around my godson, aka my nephew, a lot. And so one of the biggest things that I get on him about is believe people for who they show you they are the first time. When they show you who they are, believe it. They're not denying it. They're not faking it. They're not pulling the wool over your eyes. Believe people who they are for the first time, because if you keep giving people the benefit of the doubt to be something different from what they've shown you, you ain't gonna do nothing but get burned on the back end of that. Right. And so I tell them that all the time. I was like, listen, one thing, and B said it a long time ago, everybody ain't your friend. And believe people for who they show you who they are the first time.
Facts.
Who they show you are, believe them. Everybody is not your friend. I preach those two things to him all the time. I tell him all the time, and I'm so real with him. Bro, the same niggas that you hanging out with right now, I can promise you probably won't be hanging out in 5 years from now. Your friends come in phases. So, and believe people for who they are.
Yeah.
Big Ken, two boys.
Yeah, for me, I always talk to my sons about the difference between loyalty and love. Love is as the old folks say, love is a fleeting thing and it's conditional. No matter what people tell you, love is conditional. Yeah. There's really no such thing as unconditional because everybody got some conditions.
You better talk, sir. I was just having that convo recently.
You better say it.
So loyalty means a lot more than love. So find people who are loyal to you and you are loyal to them, because that word love is used too loosely and it's going to change based on conditions. Loyalty usually remains. If you're loyal to people, that's going to remain whether you having a great time or the worst of times. If you're loyal to people, then that's not going to change. But that love always going to be conditional.
Ooh, we got a lot of good sound clips from. We got a lot of good sound clips from this. Uncle Pudge, what is the one thing you keep preaching to your boys over and over and over and over?
Man, look, I told you. Be careful where you put your thing. that thing right there can lead you down a road of headaches.
Hey man, it's valuable. You gotta tell them that, man. It's valuable. You can't.
I ain't mad at it. We all gotta have that conversation one way or another.
Yeah. All right, look, man. I know. I told him. I know. Trust me. I've been in your position. Y'all growing. Y'all growing into young men, and your body changing. Certain urges and things are starting, to form in your mind. It's like, hey, don't do it. That's all I can say, son. Don't do it.
B, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall for Telly giving that talk.
I'm like, man,
I wish I could
be a ladies' man
right there with Telly and his boys.
I'm saying my little man, look, my little man, he gonna be a ladies' man. He go with his mama one day. Because she told me this. They watching some type of program or something. It was like an award show, and out come the flamingo dancers or whoever dances, and they doing their thing. He turned to his mom and say, "Mom, something wrong." She said, "What?" He said, "My thing is growing." I said, "Oh God." I said, look at my boy. I was like, I know you my son. I'm like, boy, yeah. I'm like, I'm like, you 8 years old. He already. I'm like, hey, be careful with that. That's a
Right.
powerful weapon, man. I'm like, let me tell you, that can give you a lifetime of happiness or a lifetime of heartache and pain. I'm like, tell my oldest, he 14. He's gonna be 15 in November. I'm like, listen, be careful, man.
You know what's funny is I was listening to 50 Cent talk on what turns Fortune 500 companies into Fortune 300 companies, what lowers their profile. And they said when they get divorced, when they marry, mate, and things of that nature, it literally takes them from being at the top of the chain to the bottom because you end up losing in that aspect. So picking the right person who, in all of those aspects and all of those phases. And whether we want to believe it or not, marriage comes down to almost, in a sense, a business deal in a lot of regards. So who you lay down and have kids with can cost you drastically. If you are fortunate, and this is why I love my boy Ken, man, he's been married for 20 plus years. You get what I'm saying? So to find that space and be in it, and to have the family structure, to have the kids, man, listen, that doesn't get as much praise as the other drama does. But to me, that's the best thing that this world has to offer. When you have all of those relationships under one circle and they're thriving in that family structure, that's how it's supposed to be. But if you get the wrong thing, man, look at here. It take you from a hero to a zero.
Quickly.
But you know, and I think one of the easiest things though is an example. You know what I mean? Like you said, he married 20 plus years. I got 19 years in the game. My son don't know anything different than marriage.
That's solid.
You know what I'm saying? So I grew up marriage being defined as you got side pieces, and my wife grew up with marriage being defined as divorce. So you taking two people, we have the same word. So we have the word marriage, but we both define it differently. And so when you have the examples of love in the house and it's not toxic, do we argue? Yeah. Do he see conflict resolution? Yeah, he see it. He'll see an issue. He'll see it get resolved, and he'll see us move on, and not linger in that space. And so I didn't have that example. It wasn't until I got grown and got around other men and mentors that I started to see stuff. I started to see marriages that was 25, 35, and 45 years. And I started looking at some of my cats that was married 3 years, and I'm seeing how the dynamics of, this 3-year marriage and this 35-year marriage got different dynamics. You know what I'm saying? And so I think the best thing that we can do at all of us that's sitting here, and we have sons that eventually are going to be somebody's husband, right? And we have to be the example that we want them to become. We got to be honorable. We got to be trustworthy. We got to be dependable. We got to be a man of our word. We got to have these. We got to be about God's business. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to have these things in place so that they can see us become this thing. I walk into these schools. And I'm gonna share some things that I've been doing with my son since he was in middle school. But I walk into these schools, and I am the only male that is in thank you. That I'm the only black male in some of the schools that I walk into.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like they don't see black males. So we're everybody that's on this panel is a commodity right now. You show up at your child's school and say you want to have lunch. I did that once a month, all the way up until COVID, which was his sophomore year in high school. And everybody was like, "Oh, he ain't gonna want to be around you in 6th grade. He ain't gonna want to be around you in 8th grade. He don't want to be around you in high school." You know what ended up happening? The same thing that happened when he was in 3rd grade. I'll end up with a table full of young people sitting around in our conversation because they don't get this. You know what I mean? Like, and I tell my son all the time, I ain't special. But this ain't happening in everybody's house. Even though you have
Right.
fathers that are in the house, they're present but not active. You know what I'm saying? So I just encourage y'all, young men, if y'all get an opportunity. I mean, your sons are grown, but still have that lunch date with them once a week, once a month. Just sit down and get in their world. Show up at the school. I do this
Right.
thing called Dad Brigade. So again, where we live at ain't a lot of black people. And when we lived in Charlotte, wasn't a lot of black people. But what I did was I got every black dad to show up at the school.
Right.
That's what's up.
We shut that thing down. They was like, they would, you know, them white teachers, the white was like, ooh, what it? We deep up into it. We was deep. And so but what that did was showing that gave my son influence. That gave him opportunity. That gave him, now we got all the teachers looking out for him. So I ain't got to move because they're going to call me when he moves out of order. They going to let me know. You know what I'm saying? And not in a bad way. And so I just encourage you, if y'all got school age kids that y'all can actually go spend time with and lunch. I don't know what y'all do for like your day job, but I told my job, like, I don't take smoke breaks. I barely take a lunch. If I'm eating lunch, I'm sitting here eating lunch. So for me to be able to go once a month and have lunch with my son, that even shouldn't be an issue. For 20 minutes, that shouldn't even be an issue. And you start doing that, and you'll see the favor and the opportunity that comes. My son is in so much stuff because I show up at the school and I hear something. I'm like, oh yeah, put him in on that. And so now he's in stuff and navigating and moving without having any idea how it's all happening. And it's like, well, because I'm showing up at the school. So if y'all get an opportunity to have lunch, take it.
That's definitely that's something me and my son we do often. Like I said, we're just coming from the movies. Our thing is movies, game, you know, spots and all of that. Like I said, he kicks my butt in the PS4 and all of that type of stuff. But the fact that I get to sit down and actually have those moments with him are priceless. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So all of that is worth value. And I mean, when you're present, I mean, those aren't hard things to do. You get what I'm saying? Like, you want to know what's going on. That's your kid. You want to know what's going on. Like, what are you into? You get what I'm saying? So I think that I would hope most of our fathers are doing that, but we know it's not always like that.
Yeah. Well, it's because they forget one important part. You can be present, but not present. You have to be present with your kids. I've always been present. Like, I sit and listen to them talk. And I listen to them talk to me. You know, they come out their room, Dad, this is what I did, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I don't know what the hell they talking about, but I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I'm like, that's cool. Can you do it again? Yeah, I can do it again. And they be excited to do it again. You know, my daughter, she'll talk about her little hair. She want to do hair. I want this, that, and that. All right, let's go to the store. You know, you show up. You got to show up for them, because if you don't show up for them,
somebody else will
show up for them. You don't want that. You stay
the homie on gold D's with the back with the bank is gonna show up. Trust me, he gonna show up. Trust
Especially
me.
If you got daughters. I tell my homeboys with daughters, I'm like, yo, give them lap time, because if you don't, a cat like I used to be will.
Exactly.
Some Negro that look like Andrew Tate, Liz Andrew Tate podcast.
For real. And I just wanted to hit on something that Maurice said. And this is just us as fathers, not no black or white thing. It is us as fathers. We got to set that example. I was just talking to one of my brothers last night about, you know, just being. Yeah, I'm here. Not. And sometimes we can sway away from it because we providers, right? We thinking about providing. We working. So I was just telling him how work is just frustrating. And he had to tell me I got to take time for my family, because kids see that. They see when you're not there. They see when you're not sitting at the table, you know, eating dinner with them, when that's something that they're used to doing. You know what I'm saying? They see when you're having disputes with your significant others and things don't get situated. They see all of this. Kids are nothing but sponges, and they're watching. When you think they're not watching, they're watching. I call Elijah an ear hustler. He's the ear hustler of the year. But that's the thing. All kids do it. You know what I'm saying? All kids do it. So the example. We got to watch how we talk, watch how we move, watch how we speak, and be there. You know, it's a huge difference for physically being there and then mentally being there. And that's what I was explaining to my brother last night. Is that it's been within the last month or two because of work. I ain't been here. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to talk with brothers like y'all and understand that, because we, like I said earlier on the show, I'm still learning, man. This thing with being
We
a
all
dad,
are.
We all are.
this thing
Like I
being a
literally
dad-
had my son today, and he was like, "Dad, this is bussing," and I was like,
right.
I was like, hold on. I was like, hold on. I had to catch myself for a minute. I was like, okay, all right, that's the new lingo. I had to catch myself. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's interesting, you know.
Like, I can't stand the no cap thing. I don't understand the no cap thing. So like I said, we all still learning as men even today. It's just we gotta still set that example. They're watching us, they're idolizing us in a way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So so any brothers that's watching this, please don't just be there emotionally, be there mentally, not just there physically.
So
I was
and know that we are all fathers to not just our children.
Right. Not just our children. Yeah.
When you show up, you like when I show up at the school, I'm a dad to all those kids.
Because you're representing as a father, period. You get what I'm saying? Like that aura is just who you are, right? And if that exudes from you wherever you go, the kids are gonna notice it. Like they even the teachers and the staff and all that, they notice because they see people all the time. You know what I'm talking about? They see it and they know the difference.
Exactly.
So B, question. You said Elijah be ear hustling. Is that hereditary?
Bro, it's all the time, bro. Like, you got to be careful what you say to this dude, or not even say to him. Like,
I know he be listening.
Oh yeah, you know who he learned it from. You know who he learned it from.
And that's why I say, is it hereditary in that house?
Yeah, it's something that's within their family. yeah.
Like mom, like son, huh?
I wasn't trying to say no names, but I was like, is it hereditary?
I know she in the other room now. Don't be trying to get me in trouble.
Don't get your boy put on the couch. He didn't stand up for me.
I got my last question tonight. I think it is a really good one. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of open it up. What is the biggest thing that you had to change in order for you to become a better father?
Oh gosh. Who you want to take that one first?
I know for me, I go first. Patience.
Whoever ready.
Patience.
Okay.
I don't think my dad had the patience for us because he owned the company and he worked a lot, and you know, I didn't respect it at the time, but you know, I respected the things that money yielded. And the fact that I never had to struggle in life, the fact that I was able to get everything I wanted, but I didn't understand that my dad, you know, had to work all those hours. But in that vein, it's like he wasn't there, you know, physically. So when he was there, I don't think that he kind of showed the patience for us that maybe he should have. So I saw myself doing the same thing as my children were younger. So I said, you know what, I have to step back and learn how to be patient with them, learn how to pay attention, learn how to notice the little small things, and, you know, just kind of slow down a little bit. And, you know, that's one thing that I know that I had to work on in order to be a better father.
That's I'm gonna give mine because I had, like I said, I with my nephew, my godson all the time. One of the biggest things I had to learn was consistency and punishments. It's like today I don't feel like addressing this issue. I can't address it tomorrow because he's gonna be like, well, you let me get away with it yesterday. It's being consistent with staying on him about stuff that I've been staying on him about. Like I said, me and B talked last season. You already know that backpack on the floor shit drive me up the wall. Okay. I didn't pay $70 for you to take that backpack and put it on the floor. Okay. I didn't pay $70 for you to walk around holding the backpack by the little handle on the top. No, Negro, put that shit on you. Put both of them straps on your shoulders. Pull that little finger. I'm not paying for your backpack to be down by your butt. You begged me for this $70 backpack. You got this $70 backpack.
Did you say $7 or 70?
70.
Okay, I'm finna say $7. I'm like, hold on, you could have bought like 10 of those. You'd have been straight.
So listen, we had a one and done conversation. I said, if you rip this backpack, I'm breaking my foot off in your ass. I just want you to know. But it's just consistency on being on him about everything. Because I realize if I let it slide today, then tomorrow he thinks it's okay. So for me, it's like, oh my God, even though I don't feel like getting on him about this, I got to. You know what I'm saying? Because I need you to know, like, it's not we're not doing this. This is not what we're doing. So for me, it was consistency about everything. Just everything. It's consistency.
Wow. For me, man, I had to learn that I officially became second in everything, probably for however long. And when that realization hit, like it made my grind different. You get what I'm saying? Like once I had my kids, you are officially second place. You're first to them because you're dad. But in terms of emotion, all of the other stuff, you're officially second. So you can't think just you when you want to lash out, or you can't when you are lashing out. You have to put it in a way that is considerate because you're dealing with kids who don't understand and think like you do. You're trying to implement something. So if it's not easily entreated, or if it's not peaceable, if it's not the right wisdom, like you can pass something on. We could be passing on your old traumas onto your kids, and now they got issues because daddy hollering all the time. You get what I'm saying? So I had to learn that I became second. Like all my kids, I became second. If I had to work a second job, that's what I had to do. And there was no question because whether I was tired or not, like, dude, like you're not the cat's meow right now. Like your kids are looking for a certain lifestyle, a certain thing. You know, they got stuff that needs to be handled. So that was something that I had to learn, and I had to learn that early because I had my first at 19, 20 years old. So I had to come from chaos and then learn these concepts instantly and then try to implement them. And that to me was something actually that still sticks with me today. So you're officially a guest now. And that's a hard thing to fathom, but that's just our lives, so to speak. Your wife should make you first. That's another story, but that's another topic. But then when we're dealing with the kids, that's how I had to view it, and that's how I had to take it.
Okay. Mr. Ball,
Um,
question.
that you can't force fruit on a tree that's not ready for the fruit to have for that tree to bear that fruit.
Right.
You know, I came out of the school of hard knocks. My dad pushed me in love. It wasn't excessive or anything like that. Um, but I look at my son, and there's sometimes I I want fruit to come from this tree, but that tree is
Right.
not ready to bear that fruit yet.
Right.
And so I try to force the fruit, which then turns around and damage the relationships because whatever I'm trying to force the fruit on now becomes something that he doesn't want to do or partake in. And so now the love for it becomes, well, no, dad is going to push me beyond this right here. And I'm just not ready for that. So I had to learn, it goes back to being patient, you know. So one day I was looking in my yard, and how I got that analogy, we had an apple tree in our backyard, and I'm sitting there looking at the tree, and it was like God was speaking to me saying, that's your son. No matter how bad you want apples from that tree ain't gonna produce apples until it's ready.
Very
Now
true.
you can go over here and get apples from any other tree, but that particular tree, you're not gonna get apples. And it's like before you start seeing consistent fruit, you're going to see consistent leaves. Okay. I'm like, okay. And he said, but in order for that to happen, the soil has to be good. It has to be watered. You have to prune the dead branches. So you
Right.
have to do the things that maintenance the tree and make sure that the tree is strong enough so when the fruit does come, that the tree is able to bear the fruit that it's going to bear.
Right.
But in my impatience and my wanting it right now, and in my being able to see the potential, I can get a little overzealous and push and push and push and push and push and miss the growth of the tree by putting fruit that he's not, and then be frustrated because he's not carrying the fruit right.
Right.
You know, he got the fruit, now it's dragging on the ground. Now I'm like, pick the fruit up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, be happy. I got the fruit. You wanted the fruit. Here the fruit is. Going to be bugging about how the fruit is being dragged and wasted because of my impatience. So, not trying to force the issue, learning how to pull back is huge. You know, learning how to let him process through his own conflict resolution and not be a helicopter parent, and allowing whatever the outcome of that decision to be the outcome. So let him make his own decisions. I mean, he's at that age where he's able to make those decisions, and then knowing that may not be the best decision, but I can't change it because there's a life experience that is going to happen within that situation. So I guess it all boils down to being patient, just different, and these kids are built different. You know, I was born in the 70s, raised in the 80s and 90s, and there was just a different, we different. These kids are, I think somebody said emotional, we got to have that emotional intellect, you know, so we got to be able to be mindful about that stuff. And I can't come at him like I was raised, even though I had a great dad. It was just, it was tougher. I have to be more understanding. I have to be more accepting. I have to be more open to listening to his emotions and his feelings. When I grew up, my dad didn't really care about my emotions and my feelings. I mean, he was saying it was okay, like, to have them, but it wasn't like, you know, you
right, like, shut the ears up, like,
yeah, like, you really got to listen. I got to sit there and be like, oh, okay, let me really see where you go with this. But I just think I ain't gonna want to be rambling on, but
no,
yeah,
you're good. You're good.
No, that's good, bro. That's solid.
CEO.
Oh man, this one is a tough one because this one is kind of personal for me. The one thing I had to stop doing was trying to be better than who my dad was. And when I say this is kind of personal because we had this conversation actually before he passed away. And he actually brought it to me. He was like, I see you do what you do because of how, you know, because of me, because I wasn't there all the time physically. Can't say he wasn't there physically. But and when I say I had to stop comparing and I had to stop trying to be better than him, is that it was blocking me on how I was treating people. You know what I'm saying? It was blocking me how I was treating my kids. I would come home lashing out, cussing, just acting not who I am because I'm trying to be better than who my dad was. And I had to, and this is just recent. I had to take a step back and like I can't try and be better than him and not be who I'm supposed to be for my children. And that's not just for my sons, but also for my daughters. You know what I'm saying? I have to do it the way God wants me to do it. I can't do it because I want to be better than him. You know what I mean? And just seeing my kids and how they were acting, how I would come home and lash out on them. And like I said, not listening. When I say I'm still learning, I'm still learning. That was one of my biggest things was stop trying to outdo what he didn't do. Be my own man, be my own leader. That's what I had to learn. I had to be my own self. Of course I can compare, but do it in a way hurting feelings, doing it in a way where I'm not scarring them. I'm not putting my childhood, what my mom like to say, your child, the child in you is still hurt. I don't want to put that child in me and that hurt on my children. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of my biggest things. And I'm still dealing with it to this day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Pop's not here where I can talk to him about it, unfortunately. May he rest in peace. But I have to every time I pull in the driveway after work, I have to be like, they did nothing to you. They're gonna want to see you because they haven't seen you all day. They want to give you hugs. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. I used to be annoyed with that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I used to be annoyed with that type of stuff, and I would be annoyed because I'm so focused. I'm not focused on them. I'm so focused on being better than my dad, and I really wasn't. If anything, I'm doing worse by not paying attention to my children. So that was one of the things that I had to stop doing, was comparing myself and my emotions about how I was growing up and placing that on my children. That's one of the big things and regrets that I've had, because it is some of the things I've placed on them that I shouldn't have, and that's unfair.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's one of my biggest things. Like I said, it's a little bit personal. Still dealing with it. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. I ain't the best dude in the world. I'm still dealing with it. And like I said, every day I pull up into my driveway, into my garage. They did nothing to you. Let's go in here. Let's be excited about seeing them. You know, spend some time with them. That's all they want. You know what I'm saying? They see what's happening out here in the outside world, but to come home and see mom and dad, it's something totally different. That's a different relationship. That's a different emotion. That's a different feeling. Right. You know what I'm saying? I should be wanting to hear about how their day went. You know what I'm saying? Me walking in my door and hearing my 4-year-old asking me how was my day made me happy, because he wants to know how I am doing. So
that's dope.
So yeah, that was one of my biggest things that I had to stop doing, is comparing myself to my dad.
Well, you know that's what? Dope. Maybe Zay can give my nephew some lessons, because the first thing out of his mouth when he see me is, "Hey, you got some Gatorades and some Gatorade bars?" So maybe he can take a lesson out of his book. Why don't you ask me how my day was?
Yeah, it's cute too. It's cute. How was your day, Daddy? I've gotten to the point where that melts my heart. Before I would get that, right? Before I would get that, I would block it. You know what I'm saying? I would block it, and that's making them feel bad, making them feel like they done something to me when they ain't done nothing to me. Right. It's everybody on the outside world that's done something to me. It's me still being that little kid thinking about what my dad did to me. I remember stuff that what happened. You know what I'm saying? I remember my dad leaving and saying he wasn't coming back. You know what I'm saying? And I have those memories, and I fell short by putting that on my children. So, like I said, that's my biggest thing.
So do you kind of feel like you understanding that kind of let some of that pressure off you?
Absolutely. When I got to the point where I understood it, and I know I had to step back from it, all of that pressure starts to leave off my chest. You know what I'm saying? Because now I can come home and have a conversation with my fiance and have a conversation with the kids without being annoyed and snapping on them just because I had a flashback of what my dad did. You know what I mean? So, oh yeah, absolutely. It's getting better. Like I stated earlier, you lead by faith. So I've been leading by faith, and I'm trying to get on the right track of this dad. I'm doing my best.
If you ask me, it's a journey, man. You're learning as we go. Our kids are learning us. We're learning them. We're learning as we go. I wish it was a script. You get what I'm saying? But like, I always say this: as long as you are putting in the work, like. One of the things that annoys me is people who have a propensity to complain about a thing but aren't willing to actually work towards making it better. So if you are that type, if you're present, if you're handling your business, if you're working, whatever it may be, like I knew I needed to go to therapy, you know, in my younger days. You get what I'm saying? So that was something I invested in. But when you're around that space, you're encouraged to go do what helps you be better. Be around the people that help you to be better. Mentors, iron sharpens iron. You get what I'm saying? Like, get around solid dudes. Like the dude on the corner, I used to love hanging around the winos when I was a kid because they had no responsibilities. They did whatever they wanted to do. And I would always get caught hanging with the winos. You get what I'm saying? But it's like, you know, you know, if you want something, you got to reach out and try something different than what we normally would consider corny or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so.
And just to add to that, and it's a stereotype that it's in the Black communities that you just mentioned about getting some help. You know what I'm saying? I had to talk to people about that because that's something
Right.
that was mentally going through in my head. I had to talk to somebody about that.
Yeah.
So counseling, and then this just, I know it's a little bit off the topic, but counseling and talking to somebody is okay.
Yeah,
It is
is.
okay.
It is.
It's
It
really
really
okay.
is.
And I was one of those people that didn't think it was okay. No, I don't
Right.
want to talk to nobody. I
Because
handled it myself.
the stigma is you crazy. We had a show
Right.
about that, and we
Man.
brought 2 licensed professionals on, man. Like the stigma is that you're crazy, but that's not
Right.
true. You just I think one of the things they mentioned is that you got to learn how to balance or put all of those things in harmony, because if you don't, you're going to live in a chaotic space, and once you do that, you're going to lash out chaotic, and that becomes
That's where I was at.
the norm
Yeah.
for you.
That's where I
No,
was at.
that's big. Like therapy is very big, and even I go to a therapist, and it helped me realize, like, I really got some things that need to be worked out. I really do need to talk to my
Yeah.
parents, because I first of all, I just want to I appreciate you for actually sharing that with us. You know what I'm saying? The
Right.
fact that you were willing to share that with us just shows that, you know what I'm saying, there was some type of level of like a lot of growth, because it's like not everybody wants to share that type of stuff. People don't want to share their weaknesses. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And
Absolutely.
I do go to therapy too, because it opens up. You really don't understand how much your parents affect your everyday movement, whether it's negative or good. And
Facts.
a little tip somebody saw, and I forgot to get the meme, but I wanted to share it with y'all, that kids don't want perfect parents. They want happy ones. You know what I'm saying? People strive. And I had a little story. I had this one cool chick I was cool with, and she was always talking about, she's killing herself. She's working 3 jobs. She's doing all this, and that. She wants to get a house with a yard and a garage for her son. And I was like, does your son really give a damn about a yard and a house? Or you think you can probably get a cheaper condo and just be a present mom in his life? I said, you got to put in perspective. Your son is a gamer. Like, he likes to play games. So it's like, you get him a decent condo with a decent room and a decent TV, and you just spend time with your son. It's like, all that house stuff don't mean shit to him. He doesn't care whether he has a yard or not. He's not going to be out in it. And so it really made me understand, like, kids don't want a perfect parent. You don't have to be a perfect parent. You just have to be present and happy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That means the world to a lot of these kids. And Uncle Pudge, same question. What was the, biggest lesson? Like, what was the biggest thing you had to work on to be a better father?
Balance. I had to learn balance. Like Pastor Ball, I was born in the 70s, raised in the 80s, grew up and was raised in the 90s. So back then it was straight, it was straight hardcore discipline, and everything was like military, like bam, bam, bam. As I got older, being raised that way, that's the way I thought, you should do things. But, in this new age, is they do things a lot different and I was like, wait a minute, like, I can't be doing that. That's too light, too soft. But I realized that I can give my kids what I got from my mama and give them the same, what they receive in the day, and combine it. It's a balance.
Right.
I had to learn the balance to make, more well-rounded kids, and make them actually, are, susceptible to approach me about stuff. Because I found out this just by the way I was speaking. See, I never yell at my kids. I never curse at them. But I had one tone, just one tone for everything, So I'm telling them to come here, and they walking slowly. I'm like, come here. And they walking slowly. I'm like, y'all not in trouble. I just want to talk to you real. And then they perk up. So I had to learn how to do an inflection in my voice that's different.
Yes.
For trouble, and just when I had to learn that. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I got to change that. Because I don't want them to be scared to approach me. I want them to think, oh, man, Dad, I'm going to get in trouble. Because I always tell them, you know what? You go out here, you do something, come and tell me. Don't lie to me. You may get in trouble. You may not get in trouble. But you come tell me, and I'm going to help you get up out of it. And we'll discuss it later. But Don't lie to me. Like, lie to your mama. You know,
Listen, you shouldn't be lying to nobody.
Right.
I told him that.
We just say that. Lie to your mama. Lie to your mama.
Charlie,
Edit that part out.
hey, Benji, we not editing that part out. You know your baby mama's watching this podcast, right? Hey,
but I told him you shouldn't lie to your mama, but if you got to, you lie to her.
Hey, tell it.
Like a true father, huh?
Hey, your baby mama's watching the podcast, sitting here like,
probably is, man. But I'm like, hey,
you raggedy bitch.
Gonna be.
You muted, Taylor. You muted.
Okay. I'm like, we gonna figure it out together. Now, Dad gonna get you out of trouble because he gonna go to bat. He gonna pull out every trick in the book. And once we get settled, you're not gonna do that again, whatever it is. But if you gotta lie to your mama. Don't lie to me. Lie to anybody else. Your grandparents. I'll say, but don't lie to grandma. She don't play that mess.
Oh yeah, you might get whooped with a butcher knife.
I'm like, you lie to
grandma gonna make you go out and get your own switch.
Right. I'm like, you lie to grandma.
hey,
you go catch them hands from G-Ma. She ain't got the patience. No more. None of that.
Tell me, Mom, you might just catch them hands, bro. I don't know.
Hey, man, she tell you.
Tell me, Mom, you
I'll
might
tell
just
her in a
catch them
minute.
hands,
my grandma, yeah, man.
I can't do nothing for you because you can look at me all you want. Like, you gonna let her do that? Yes, I am.
Yeah, I got it.
I ain't even gonna be in the room. I'm turning around like, oh.
Yeah, I exit that. And you ain't get me caught up. What I'm gonna say to my grandma.
You revert back to
y'all work that out. Y'all gotta work that out.
Grown folk business. You just don't meddle in grown folk business. So I see.
Right.
I'm right there with you. Hey, Marie, I'm telling. Hey, I'm my mama's child, so I'm gonna stay at my ass in the child's place today.
Exactly.
There's seniority. There's seniority there. I'm going to the store real quick.
Right.
I'm gonna finish calling and come back.
I'll be back. Y'all work that out.
She been a lot more grown than I have, so I can't outgrown her. I say so. Grandma is one person you don't mess with, and Dad.
Right.
Like I said, lie to your mama. Don't mess with us. I'm like, you lie to your mama, you get in trouble. I try to talk her out of it, but I tell her, you know what, that's my bad. I told him to do it, but, so she can.
Hey, stop telling them to lie to everybody.
Hey, man, I just say don't lie to me.
Make yourself a part of that. Make yourself a part of that.
It's more like forget it.
But yeah, man, I had to learn the balance. And now my kids, they get it. They approach me all the time. My daughter, she texts and calls me all the time. Like, what you doing? I'm like, same thing I was doing the other day. She like, I thought you'd be sleeping. I'm like, you think I sleep a lot? No, I don't. I'm like, man, I'm up trying to think of things to do. But my sons, them, yap. They want to talk about their dreams. I want to go to New York and live. I'm like, what's in New York? I don't know.
$4,200 for rent to live in Manhattan.
I'm like, so why you want to go there if you don't know what's
one bedroom?
I know, right? I'm like, first, okay, this is what we gonna do. I'm gonna take you to New York on a trip. We're gonna look around. You're gonna see, if you like it, because you might not like it.
Right.
You might say it's too crowded.
Go experience it first.
Right. Let's go check it out first. So that's what I've learned, to tell them, direct them actually more effectively, to give them more effective direction. Just not the hardcore old school way, but the new school also. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of these kids nowadays need some old school put on.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
But you got to find.
Some of us need some new school put on.
Exactly.
I was about to say that. Some of us need some new school.
Yeah, some of us parents need some new school thinking and drilled in us, so we can better understand the kids nowadays. That's it. That's all.
Like a little bit, because every once in a while I have to tell my niece. My niece, she's 13, about to be 14, and my nephew, he's 11, about to be 12. And every once in a while I have to let them know, like, listen, Every once in a while, you know, we trying to let y'all get away with stuff, but y'all be trying us. Like, understand this.
Oh, they gonna try you now.
I will fight a grown man. I will beat your ass. Don't ever get it outside that footprint. Nigga, we will box it up in here. I will beat both of y'all at the same time. Stop playing with me.
Oh yeah.
Like B said, if I move this couch around and you still standing on your stance, then obviously it is what it is.
Bro, listen. If I take this shirt off and I take this hat and this chain off, and you still standing on what you just said, you gotta move some furniture, bro.
You gotta move some furniture.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, so you moving the furniture first or second?
No. I'm taking off the shirt because it's all clothes. You know, mess up my chain. I'm gonna take off the hat.
Yep.
If you still standing on whatever you just said or whatever you did, and you standing on it. And I tell you to stand on what you do. You got to suffer the consequences. You got to move some furniture. But he falls on it.
I've had to rock the chest of my oldest son a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? They get tested. You know.
Hey, thank God I haven't had to do it, but you know, it keep dropping little hints like, "Dad, look how tall I am. I'm almost tall as you." Wait a minute, son.
And you got
as tall as me.
I'll still break you down. Okay, I'll tell you.
Hey, okay.
I'll break you down.
I'm like, hey, boy, let me tell you something. You ain't got to measure me. Hey, let me know when you ready. Tell me. You ain't got to steal on me. Hey, we can mark it in the calendar. I give you time to train. You put on the Rocky music. I don't care. Just let me know.
Did he say the Rocky music?
Yeah, get your training on.
We got we're getting the energy going. Eye of the tiger in this.
All right, tell you, whooping ass the eye of the tiger.
Right, just give me a time and date. I will show up. Hell, bring your brother if you can convince him. Go get your cousins too. Because when I get done with you, I'm taking your ass out for ice cream and it's still all love. I'm put a whooping on your ass you'll never forget. Challenge me.
You gotta put him. I remember I was talking to my son and I was talking to him, and he was agitated, so he closed the door in my face.
Ooh. Ooh.
Listen, Floyd Mayweather mode in this joint.
I grabbed that joker by his neck, power slammed him on the bed, and was like, "You don't want this smoke." And of course, he all dramatic. He fell. He was like, so my wife runs up the stairs, like, you know, what's happening? I'm like, we good now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there ain't nothing happening.
Hey,
I ain't had to choke slam him no more since then. But yeah, you know, like that. I ran into the door and I just had a flashback. I was like, man, what? You got me all twisted.
Right.
You gotta quit attitude adjustment.
Man, I'm like, dude, I come from where you had to know how to throw these things. So I can fight. I don't like to, and I don't want to have to, but I can. You know what I'm saying?
We've taken some official boxing lessons around here. We could give you these. We could give you the 1-2 side step, rib joint, all of it.
That's it. I
just got one thing else to say about just, you know, one of the things I learned as a parent that my dad didn't do, and I'm looking back, or my grandparents are probably in there, my uncles at that, and looking at the men that I had in my life, apologizing.
Yeah.
When I'm wrong with my son, and I'm wrong, I don't not go and tell him that I'm not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I go and apologize to him, and I tell him, "Hey, Dad was wrong. I'm sorry. I didn't learn that. My dad didn't apologize to me. It was what it was. You know, grown folk back then. All right, I'm wrong, but whatever. We on to the next.
Right.
You know, so now, I mean, that's one of the things that I can sit here and say, yeah, my dad never apologized to me.
Oh man,
if he was wrong, but I make sure that if I am wrong about something, that I go and I apologize, and I don't just say I'm sorry. You know, like, oh, I'm sorry. I tell him what I'm sorry for, so that he can understand that I understand what happens. Like, we had a situation the other day. He was like, "But Dad, you said," and I was like, "Oh yeah," you know. And I went and apologized to him, and I was like, "Man, my bad," you know, for the da. And what he did was, we got a little handshake. So we did our little handshake. We hugged it out. And then kissed me on my cheek. He was like, all right, Dad, I love you. And that right there gave him the understanding that I am not always right.
That's right.
Yes.
It does good. When the kids see that you make mistakes as a parent, makes them feel better. Like, oh, I ain't got to be. Mom and Dad ain't perfect.
I ain't got to be perfect.
You know, and to get an apology out of my mama, though, when I was a kid, man, you better. Hey, mother, you said this. I know what the fuck I said. Don't tell me. I'm like, oh man, you know what? Like, oh man.
Y'all pray for me. I think I'm always right.
Hey, I do too.
Y'all pray for me, all right? Because you know,
I feel you. But I do. I was like,
I bring it up.
I'm
I'm more than likely. I'm like, yo, like
well, I hate apologizing.
So he was just wilding out, huh?
You know what? We didn't get Big Ken. Let Big Ken go. We didn't get him. We didn't took over. Go ahead, Big Ken.
Y'all doing y'all thing, man.
Go ahead, man.
For me, you know, with my boys, one of the biggest things that I kind of focus in on too is making sure they understand that, number one, we're growing as parents. Right. We're getting older, we're learning. So they have to understand that what I knew when you were little and versus what I know now at, you know, you're 21 and you're 18 is totally different. Dad had to grow up too. And another thing is I'm big on this right now, since I have a 21 and an 18-year-old, is, you know, Dad your whole life. Now you get a chance to know who Ken is, because two different people. You got to realize I had a life before you and I have a life when you're not around. So now you get a chance to see who Ken is, and then you can put the two together, because you have to understand the dynamics are going to be changing as you get older. So there are going to be things that you didn't know about Dad. There are going to be things that, you know, maybe good or bad, but you got to understand that now you're entering a different phase of your life. And I've been through different phases as well. So maybe something that Dad is saying, maybe I know what I'm talking about. That helps give some validity to the conversations I have with them, because I think they think, well, Dad, you're 42. You weren't my age a long time ago. Well, son, that 21 years difference is not that long ago, right?
Right.
In our mind, because we have those experiences over that time. So I think the conversations that I've had lately to kind of tie everything together is really working, because now they actually listen to me with less resistance.
Right. I was going to ask this, Ken, because what do you think is the caveat to them finally like listening to you, so to speak, in that regard?
I think too, apologizing is a big thing, because I did have to learn that as well. In both instances where I had the dust up with my sons, I had to apologize after, because regardless of who was wrong in the situation, I'm the adult, I'm the dad. I have to deal with things differently in order to present that image to them, in order to show them, you know, like we said earlier, we got to lead by example. Right. So, you know, we want them to be a certain way. We got to be that way in order for them to actually do it, in order for them to actually see it. And that's what I had to learn, how to lead in that way. And, you know, not like some of my parents, do as I say, not as I do. Nah, they're going to look at everything you're doing and they probably going to repeat it. So,
and they'll tell you about it too.
I'm about to say that they throw it up in this generation, throw it right back in your face.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the hardest things, bro. I think that's one of the hardest things for your children to critique you. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing as a parent. If you're a true parent, you have to be able to take that critique from your child, because that's the only way you're going to improve. Like we talked about earlier, children have a love language too. We often equate love languages to relationships and things of that nature, but kids have a love language too. So if you're not feeding their love language and they tell you that, it's a harsh pill to swallow, but it's the only way you can become a better parent.
Absolutely.
I agree 100%.
I definitely tell my kids that. I say, listen, don't let nobody, if somebody do something that you don't like, you talk to them. And I say, even me, if I do something to you and you like feel some type of way about it, you can come to me and talk to me, because there's probably some misunderstanding. I didn't mean it to come off that way, but we can hash it out. I don't want you to ever think you can't say, Dad, when you did this, I felt this type of way, because you're a person just like me. You have feelings just like I have feelings. And just because you're a kid, don't make your feelings invalid. I can be the parent still, You're not disrespecting or anything. I want to know when I mess up with you, because how else if I'm gonna get better? So don't ever be afraid. And my kids will come and tell me, well, Dad, didn't you say? I was like, when I say that? It's like, you said it then. And I was like, how did I say it? You said it just like this. Okay, then. So that's what it means. It means nothing else. So you understood the way I said it. Like my daughter, if I tell her, look, I'm going to take you to the beauty store to get your hair. And I tell her just like that. Dad, you remember you said you was going to take? Did I say when I was going to take you? She said, no, okay, then. So I still got time.
You play that game too?
Like, yo, you gotta know that you need that.
I'm like, did you say you need it right away? You said, can I take you to the store? I said, okay, I will. I put it on the list of things. Now, if you say, Dad, I need to go to the store in a couple of hours, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna take you in a couple of hours. So she understands, they understand. When Dad give you a time and date, you can stand on it. If I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get to it whenever I can. So don't come bugging me, because I know what I said. Now, you keep on bugging me, I'm gonna make it longer.
I'm gonna stop doing my nieces and nephews.
Hey man, look here.
I'm gonna let them watch that movie with Matthew McConaughey, the Lincoln lawyer, and then send them back to y'all.
Buddy, let me tell you something. This is not the United States in my house. This is United ain't no Constitution.
It's like this is Russia in this joint.
All right, Negro.
Ain't no republic here.
But listen, first of all, I just want to say, I appreciate all y'all coming and hang out today. We went a little long tonight, but the conversation was really good. It's just like I said, it was an extremely dope show to just get a point of view, especially with dads, with sons, to get a few questions out there, and we had a lot of dope quotes. You know what I'm saying? From not letting your emotions be your compass. And the big Ken understanding, like, the biggest thing you should have is patience. You know what I'm saying? B, put God first. You know what I'm saying? And holding everybody accountable. You know what I'm saying? Because the same thing we preach from our kids is like we also have to do as parents. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell my kid to be accountable when I'm not being accountable.
Exactly.
Like I said, they'll throw it right back in your face.
They'll slap you right in the face. Because, like I said, this generation, and as hard as we were, you know what I'm saying? But they are definitely paying attention. They are definitely
and they will speak up. They aren't as closed mouth as we was coming up, so to speak. They will speak up about anything.
I heard a kid, he looked to be about maybe elementary, middle school, and he literally told his mom, he's like, Mom, sometimes you're emotionally draining. And I was like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, you know what? Obviously, he learned that from somewhere. Obviously, he feeling that. So
we would have got slapped in the mouth. And
oh my God.
Me personally, I know my mom.
No way I would have said that.
It would have been clean up on aisle 6 if I would have said that.
Yes.
So you know what?
I would be drinking out of straw right now in a chair controlled by my chin. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the crazy thing about that is we found out that's not the only way. You know what I'm saying? So fortunately for us, we're able to look at things in retrospect and say, I was looking at something the other day, and we have to realize, like, for our fathers, a lot of our fathers were military or came from military backgrounds. So that's part of the reason why they were the way they were. Right. So now we got to look at militant. This generation. A lot of us didn't go to the military, so we don't have that same mindset. So we have a different way of thinking. So, it's not so strict. It's not so many guidelines. And I think that's part of the reason why things are a little bit more free flowing as far as the thought process of these kids. And it's not necessarily that they don't have some of the issues that we had, but to me, they actually have more issues because of social media and more emotional, trauma, as far as, from what we had, because we talked about this before, and I don't want to take up all your time, but we had a bully at school or somebody that you had issues with at school. When you left school, you left that issue. Now, when they go home, that issue follows them because that person is on social media doing the same thing they were doing at school. Right. They're going to troll them in real life, and they're going to troll them online when they get home. So these kids are dealing with a whole lot more stuff. So we have to be, emotionally intelligent when we're dealing with them and pay attention to those things, because listen, suicide is real.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I've had a couple of classmates that had, kids during the pandemic, between the ages of 16 and 19, commit suicide. So, we can't look at it as when that little kid said, "Mom, you're emotionally draining." She probably was. And
Right.
I mean, and at that age, we come from that time frame of, oh, you look at me, you talking back. But
Right.
I mean, he had a valid statement.
Valid point. Right.
It might hurt a little bit, but it's valid.
Right.
Training him.
I don't know how valid his point was, but when he said it, I was like, "Ooh!" And then she looked at me, and I'm looking like, "Don't look at me. He the one said it." I was just caught off guard that he said that to you, but don't look at me. I'm not the bad guy here. He is. All right. But,
that was her opportunity to say, "How am I emotionally draining? What am I doing? That you feel that I'm emotionally draining." That was the doorway.
A lot of us weren't taught how to communicate back. It was shut up, be quiet. I said it. I mean what I say. I say what I mean. So a lot of us were, and one of my issues is articulating certain things, even though I speak well and things of that nature. Right. But expressing feelings isn't always the move for me. Like, I'm very reluctant to do that. But when you got kids now who will hold your feet to the fire on certain things, they hold you accountable. Like they'll say something to you like, "Dad, you were supposed to do this like 2-3 hours ago," and I was like, "Oh shoot, my bad." They will hold you accountable. So we got to learn how to live in that space freely with them and allow them to hold us accountable. Because if they love us, they're going to do what's right by us in most cases, right?
Absolutely.
I appreciate all y'all coming through and sharing a world class of wisdom, because I honestly took a few things from this, and I'm pretty sure iron sharpens iron, so everybody else is
absolutely
things from this. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is my mom's favorite part of the show.
Hey, please, Mom, real quick with it.
Yeah, my mom's favorite part of the show, because she's like, she don't say, I watched some of your broadcasts the other day.
Your broadcast.
I was like, hey, I ain't gonna correct it. She said what she said, and I like what you said at one time. That was nice. So this is my mom's favorite time of the show. Okay. I was sitting back and I was like, I need a good one for this week because I'm gonna be hanging out with a bunch of men, and I thought of one, right? There's a point in your life where you have to understand that no matter how much you do for a person, it will never be good enough. And it is not because you aren't good enough. It's because that person isn't meant to be in your life. So whether it is a friend, a relationship, or a coworker, if that person isn't meant to be in your life, then nothing you do will ever be good enough. So take that when you're like rolling through everything that you're doing and anything else. It's just like, I feel like I'm not being appreciated. It's because that person isn't meant to be in your life. That person is there's this thing called seasons. Like, not everybody is meant to be in your life forever. There's people that are in your life for seasons. And don't let somebody that is don't let their season come up and they're still in your life. Make sure you move along in that person in your season. So just Jody's words of wisdom this week, man. Don't worry about, somebody appreciate you, because the person who really loves you and appreciates you, you'll always feel it. So not everybody in your life is meant to stay in your life, man. And
appreciate
that is my words of wisdom for this week. And I appreciate all these fellas coming up here to hang out with us tonight. And me and Tully will see you guys next week. Peace.
I ain't mad if they ain't no. You know I ain't mad if you love it. Ain't nobody overtime.